Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am the Omni Viewer, here to do a follow-up to my previous video regarding all of the reveals and unreveals from the Anime Japan event surrounding Godzilla Monster Planet. I'm not retracting anything I said in the last video. I'm still very disappointed that we haven't seen Godzilla, and still very worried that Godzilla may be a non-entity in this film at all. But that doesn't mean I'm just going to stop covering this film. Just because I'm worried doesn't mean I'm giving up. See, for as concerned as I am, I'm also experiencing some serious deja vu. It's a matter of public record that I was having almost these exact same concerns regarding the 2014 Legendary film, whose advertisements and teaser images, by the way, had shown us far more of Godzilla than anything Monster Planet has shown us so far, while still not revealing all that much. And when that movie was released, all of my concerns were actually verified. Turns out I was the guy who saw it coming. But here's the twist. I wound up liking the movie anyway. Why? Because it was a well-made movie, that's why. Like I said in my previous video, at the end of the day, I'm gonna call it like I see it. And that phrase had a very negative connotation given the context I used it in. But it actually works both ways. If a movie I'm concerned might be bad turns out to be good, I'm going to say that it's good. I'm not the sort of person who's determined to hate something in spite of its virtues. I'm also not the sort of person who changes his opinion to go with whatever is popular, or a contrarian who always goes against the flow to feel like the smartest man in the room. My opinions, my beliefs, and my observations are my own. Sometimes they line up with public opinion, sometimes they don't. But I'll always be honest with you when expressing them. As such, there is still the possibility that even if the Godzilla anime turns out to be exactly what I'm predicting it'll be, I could still wind up liking it. Really, it just depends on how it's executed. And again, that's not to say I'm retracting any of my concerns. I really can't shake the feeling that Godzilla either isn't in this movie at all, or has so little screen time that he may as well not be in it. Even if these plants really are supposed to be his spines, which I still don't believe by the way, look at where they are in relation to the rest of the image. There's hiding an Easter egg, and then there's whatever this is. But I've already said my piece on that. Also, just quickly, I'd like to address a couple of other things people have brought up in this whole conversation. It's been suggested by more than a few people that Toho is doing this very deliberately. Of course they're not gonna show us Godzilla, because then losers like me will talk about it online and generate more buzz for it. Now, believe it or not, I know that. Even before it was suggested in the comments of these videos, I kinda figured that was the case. And maybe it is. Not having any connections to people who work at Toho, I can't say. However, just because that is what's happening, doesn't mean I have to like it, or that I think it's the right thing to do. As I've said before, there is such a thing as too much buildup. Remember the '98 Godzilla movie? Yeah, I'm just gonna let that speak for itself. Other people have suggested that showing Godzilla so soon might give too much away. I think I understand, and yet I still don't agree. The advertisements for Captain America Civil War hiding anything in regards to the character of Zemo, that made sense. That would have given away too much. But I can't imagine what revealing Godzilla could possibly give away. I again refer you to the image of the Mazinger Z reboot. Here we see the eponymous robot with a slight redesign, though still familiar looking, but only a portion of him, and mostly kept in shadow. Now, seeing this image, what do you think? Do you think, well great, now that we've got a glimpse of Mazinger Z, the whole movie has been spoiled and there are just no surprises left, may as well not even see it? Or do you think, ooh, neat. I wonder what sort of new surprises they have in store for us. I can't wait to see this thing in action. I'm guessing it's the latter of the two. Something like that is what I've been waiting for with Godzilla Monster Planet. Keeping the other monsters shrouded in mystery, I can understand. That way it's a surprise as to who else is showing up, or what a new monster might be. But hiding Godzilla? and hiding him so thoroughly that he's literally nowhere to be seen? That's troubling. But getting back to the original topic of this video, let's suppose the worst comes to pass. Godzilla Monster Planet premieres, and not only is it bad, it's really bad. What happens then? I'll tell you what happens. We say, well, that sucked. Time to wait for the next one. See, being part of the Godzilla fandom in particular gives me a very different perspective from your average fan. I don't think there are many Godzilla fans who can honestly make the claim that the older stuff is better and the newer stuff is worse. We're talking about a franchise that's run fairly consistently for 60 plus years. Every decade since the 50s has had at least 2 Godzilla movies released in it. Yeah, there were times it was put on hold, but the return of Godzilla was always a question of when rather than if. And during those gaps, we had books, and comics, and video games, and cartoons, and even songs to keep this series alive. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because in terms of quality, the Godzilla franchise has always been a roller coaster. Most of the movies are average, some of them are really great, some of them are so bad they're good, and some of them just plain suck. But the movies that just plain sucked weren't enough to keep this franchise down. If Godzilla Monster Planet does turn out to be a disaster, we'll just wait for the next movie to set it right. Maybe that'll be Toho's job, maybe that'll be Legendary's job. And of course, just because I'm bracing myself for a bad movie doesn't necessarily mean it will be. Heck, I'd love to be wrong and for Godzilla Monster Planet to be good. Just because I'm frustrated and feeling let down doesn't mean I've given up on the movie. It doesn't mean I've given up on Godzilla overall. And it doesn't mean you have to feel the same way. I'm just waiting for something substantial. Something that'll either dismiss my concerns entirely or let me know it will be good in spite of my concerns. That's all I wanted to say in terms of clarification. As always, feel free to leave your thoughts below. Until such time as we meet again, this is the Omni Viewer, signing off.